Alright, this lens came out a couple of days ago. I wasn't expecting it. And to be honest, I was caught surprised by the fact that this new lens came out. And in this video, let's do a quick first impression review of the new Sony 16-35mm f4G power zoom lens. Now, I've only been testing this lens for around 4 days now. Of course, this was announced Tuesday night Manila time, and Sony sent this over to me the following morning at 6 a.m. because I was actually heading out to the province. And so I had a few chances to actually test this one out. Now, even while just watching the announcement, I was actually thinking to myself, this is the 16-35mm lens that we never thought we needed. And basically, I do think that this is a lens wherein Sony just wanted to put all the new technology, all the new features that they've been putting on other lenses into this one. So this is actually a lens that can be used by almost all kinds of photographers and all kinds of videographers as well. And that will be explained as we run through some of the features that it has. Now, of course, in terms of the build quality and design, this is actually very similar to my current favorite lens, which is the 20mm f1.8G. Now, the 16-35 is of course a zoom lens. However, the feel is rather different and almost similar to the 20mm prime. That's because the zoom is actually controlled electronically instead of mechanically. So, for example, when you're holding it like this and you're trying to zoom it in, you're not going to feel any movement because there is no electricity running through the lens and it's not moving electronically. And you can see that the zoom ring is actually very close to the focus ring, so you might actually mistake it as one singular ring, but of course they move separately. Now, just like most of the recent Sony lenses that came out, specifically the 35mm G Master and the new 70-200 G Master, this one also actually has its own aperture ring, a physical aperture ring with clicks. Now, of course, you can actually turn off those clicks with this switch right here, and that allows you to change the aperture very smoothly. So that's something to consider for transitions in video. And it also has this iris lock that helps you make sure that you don't accidentally change your exposure. Of course, just like the other lenses, it also has an AF/MF switch as well as a customizable focus hold button right here. Now, of course, the new thing about this one is this one has a power zoom slider, which means that instead of just zooming in with the ring, you can actually very smoothly zoom in and zoom out with this slider right here. So that's gonna give you some smoother movement when you're doing it in video. Now, this is actually a very light and compact lens. This just weighs around 350 grams. And the size is only about 3.5 by 3.2 inches. So very compact, very easy to carry, especially when you have other lenses in the bag with you. Now, it of course also has this lens hood right here that you can remove and also turn the other way. And of course, it has a 72mm filter thread. Now, I actually appreciate that even if it's a compact lens, it's a 72mm filter thread, which means that it's the same as some of the lenses that I use. And of course, I am someone who uses filters almost every time, so I don't have to get more filters with smaller sizes, even if I'm working with a compact lens. Now, I've been trying this lens over the past 4 days and just generally trying to shoot whatever I could. And this has been giving me actually really good optics, really good image quality, as I would expect from a Sony G lens. Now, of course, something to test is distortion, and I do see a bit of distortion, but I am not surprised. Simply because this is a really compact lens, we would expect a bit of distortion when we're going rather wide, and of course 16mm is significantly wide, so we do get a bit of distortion on that. But I'm expecting that when the raw processing softwares come out, the compensation for distortion will be very easy and can be done automatically. I usually do this in Adobe Lightroom, and it fixes the distortion to the extent that I don't even have to bother with it. Last night I was on the roof of Brixton Tower in Ortigas, and I was actually able to use this in shooting cityscapes both during the daytime and nighttime. I was able to shoot the sunset with it, and of course focusing isn't really something I ever think about, and it's the same with this one. I just tap on the screen of my A7IV and just let it focus. And I noticed that even if it got darker, there was no problem in focusing. I would just select a point and it would focus really well and accurate. Ultimately, I actually think this is a really good generalist ultra-wide angle lens, which means that this can be used in so many different genres in different applications. I do think that this will be a compelling recommendation to landscape photographers, travel photographers, especially if they don't need a 2.8 opening, and of course other applications such as using this in events, in weddings, as well as videos. Of course, this actually has some nice features that are handy for videos, such as the Aperture Ring, the click switch, the iris lock, and of course the power zoom. Now, I do imagine that this will be a lens that will be a favorite among vloggers, especially if you're using the Bluetooth shooting grip. You can actually control the zooming in and zooming out even if you're pointing the camera towards you when you're holding the grip. And there we go. I'm definitely going to be testing this out even further, and will probably release a more comprehensive review about this lens. But generally, I am quite impressed with the new Sony 16-35 f4G power zoom, and I see a lot of potential with this lens in the hands of Sony photographers and videographers altogether. Now, if you have any questions, do leave them down below in the comment section, and I will try my best to answer all of them. And if you got this far into the video, thank you for watching. Of course, my name is Nicco Valenzuela. I am a landscape and architectural photographer, so the content of this channel is mostly about landscape photography, architectural photography, and of course other tech-related items related to photography and video. Thanks for watching.